Yo, back in the building. What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do?
What it do?
All right, welcome, one and all, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
to Dating University. It's Thursday. Y'all know what it is. Thank y'all so much, man. Y'all have been doing so many big numbers on the podcast side, man. We love y'all so much. Please,
we love you.
Continue to watch. Please continue to listen.
Please
continue to share. And speaking of sharing, right now, you know what you need to do. Click the share button.
I'm on it, Professor.
Click the share button. Get your friends in here. Get your mama in here. Get your daddy in them in here. Get your baby daddy in here. Your baby mother in here. Get your cousins in them.
Get everybody in here is what he's saying.
Miss Jackson, all of them. Get everybody in here. Huh? Listen, oh my goodness, man. We are continuing. I'm sorry, let me stop. I'm getting ready to go all off topic. I'm not doing the house stuff that we're supposed to do. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to Dating University. I'm your co-host, Professor Charles, along with my beautiful co-host,
Professor Brittany.
Yes, indeed, where we discuss the good,
the bad,
and the ugly
of all things dating and relationships. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
Best day of the week.
Indeed. Well, shout out to you, DD, for being in the building. Appreciate you, everybody. All right. So, we are continuing our Domestic Violence Awareness Month shows, and we are so blessed to bring back our guest from earlier this month, the incomparable, the resourceful,
oh my gosh, yes,
the visionary,
yes,
the helpful,
yes,
Maritza Gabriel of Enough Cries.
That was like such an amazing introduction.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have you next time introduce me for all my events.
Oh yes,
listen.
You know what? That is very marketable. Charles has a very marketable voice, so he can definitely open up for you.
I'm definitely here for it. I'm here for it. I would definitely do that.
Okay.
Charles, your voice can take you a lot of places.
I'm trying. Listen.
General audiences.
It's like a very
teen audiences. You could even go to the XXX audience if you please.
Listen, so, I'm trying to break in. I'm really trying to break into this voice acting situation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody got any, gigs or
see, what we gotta do is we gotta bring back BT's Quiet Storm.
Listen,
on there you go.
The old folks. Look, I'm showing my age with that one. Yeah, buddy.
You've been
Quiet Storm.
The Quiet Storm.
Oh man.
Don't hype my head up for real. I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, y'all. If anybody knows any kind of people who hire for voice acting or teaches voice acting, inbox us, please.
Yeah.
I need to get this bread.
Just for Charles, not me.
Right. My future wife expects me to get her a house and stuff. So,
Yeah.
It costs money.
It costs money. Yep. Underneath me, for those that are watching tonight live, or even after you get settled in and decide to tune in tomorrow or next week, whenever, beneath me is my very own husband, Viv.
Thank y'all.
our definite honorary professor. You know what I'm saying? He's been on the show multiple times.
Yes.
So he is absolutely an alumni. Salute you, sir. He was on the first Man Cave show, you know.
Oh man, yes,
and he's actually even hosted his own show right here on Dayton University. Right around the time when Darius and Professor Brittany was getting ready to get married. So man, welcome back.
Yes, he's been on quite a few times.
When
I was in school, when we were dating, when we got engaged, and then when we got married. So you've seen the evolution of the Beverleys.
Absolutely. So welcome back to the classroom, Professor.
Thank you. And I want to wish my beautiful wife a happy 2-year anniversary. Because, I mean, there's no me without her. So I can say, she is my world. She is a blessing. Thank you for having me on the show, y'all. And it has been a shared joy watching y'all show grow. You guys, when I first met you guys came over and you guys hit the lights and we hit a new phone, and then COVID hit, and then Charles, you stepped up, man, and you found a way to keep it going. So I want to applaud y'all. Because when y'all had y'all time out, I used to get on my wife every Thursday, like we used to do something on Thursdays. What happened?
He
but I love y'all show. I truly love y'all show. I love seeing y'all grow. Of course, me and Britt, we've grown to a married couple, and Charles and you and Dee Dee, it's a straight up joy. You kind of remind me of me and Britt when we first met and whatnot, man.
Yeah.
And dude, just showing Black love, man, showing that people can get there. Keep it going. Just keep it going. And thank y'all for tonight, man, because it needs to be said. I've been getting myself together all day because I don't want to feel triggered, but it's something that needs to be said.
So we're going to ease into it.
Yeah. Let's ease into it.
Yes.
Breathe.
Woosah.
There you go. So
I got my purple and whatnot, so I'm gonna celebrate after this.
Okay.
Oh,
happy Purple Thursday.
All right, Derry. Let's get the show
started. We ain't gonna do that.
Let's get the show started, baby.
They ain't cutting us no check. You heard? So
I'm not cutting a check already for them. We need to cut y'all a check.
Anywho, we're gonna jump right into it. Maritza, when you were here last, you started to talk to us about your story about domestic violence, your personal story with domestic violence, and what it led to where you are now with your organization, Enough Cries. And when we ended the show, you were telling us that you had an event that was tied to your organization. So please give us all the details, like what happened, how did it go, where was it up?
Yeah, so that was my first event ever. I was super excited to do it, at the same time nervous, because I think a lot of people felt that having the event, it was going to be a depressing event, and it was just going to be based on graphic domestic violence. And I wanted to bring to the people that domestic violence doesn't have to be graphic. I wanted to put the awareness out there that there's different causes of domestic violence. It was not just physical. And I'm glad and I'm happy that I was able to deliver that message. We cried, we laughed, we took a break to eat, and I saw that everyone was comforting each other. So I really was happy with the outcome. It was hard work, but I'm happy with the outcome. I was able to deliver the message that I wanted to deliver and help people, give them knowledge. If they weren't in an abusive relationship, now they have knowledge. I was able to put the awareness out there that it could be your cousin, your mother, your uncle, sister, and you won't even know. And I let it be known that they may be sitting next to someone that is actually going through it.
Wow.
You won't even know. And it just I can see in their faces it clicked. Like, wow, I can actually be sitting by a survivor or someone that is going through something and not even know it. And that was the message that I wanted to deliver that day. And I think that I was able to deliver that.
And that's amazing. Like, I'm so happy that you did that. I mean, because it's, you know, we often see the after effects and how hard it is, you know, for men and women who are going through domestic violence. We see, you know, the shelter, you know, kind of situation. We see the tears. We see, you know, the brokenness. We see, you know, the heartache of it. But for you to kind of not only bring it to light, but also bring some kind of positivity to it, to kind of let people know that you're not alone, and you know, have this event that is, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, that it just brings to light. I think it's so important to let people know that you don't necessarily have to be able to be gone through domestic violence to support anybody who's gone through domestic violence.
Right. And like we had the discussion last time I was on, it was so important. And I was telling Brittany to listen, because sometimes it's like we don't want to be criticized. That's where we're embarrassed about, to express it to someone and hear what they have to say. So we keep it within ourselves. But it's such a relief to have someone that we can actually vent to and talk to and not be criticized, or the question why. Like, why did you stay? You know, why are you there? It's so important to just be able to listen. And that's with anything. Sometimes when we go through things, even Brittany, congratulations on 2 years of being married, but in a relationship, we have to learn to just zip and listen. And receive the message, opposed to always being offensive and just trying to defend ourselves, just to sit back and listen.
Right. That's good. Maritza, can you talk about your emotions before your event, during your event, and then tell us how you felt after the event?
So again, preparing for the event, I didn't want it to be a depressing event. I wanted to be a resourceful event. So I contacted a lot of people within my county. I contacted the Prince William County Police, the chief of police, the deputy. Well, actually, it was the sergeant. That there was a incident here that took place in Woodbridge, and he was the one that responded to that 911 call, and he lost his partner to that 111 call. The guy has shot and instantly killed his partner.
Wow.
So I wanted him to speak on that opposite side of the door, as a law enforcement. I wanted to get the right people to speak at the event, again, because it was a message that I wanted to bring, an awareness. I didn't want it to be a depressing event. But through it all, I was constantly praying. I'm like, God, you know, just anoint the event, that the information that we need is given and people are able to receive it. And throughout the event, you kind of learn how to read people. You know who has been abused and who hasn't, because certain words may trigger them, and you feel their body. You can see their body language. So even though half of the people I didn't know, I stood in the front where the podium was, in a corner, just to observe everybody, just to look. And I can see, that's why I said, you may be sitting next to someone that's going through something, because there were certain words that were being said, and you can see how their body language is moving, their face expression. Okay, she's been through something. We finally got our break. I went directly to those people. I'm like, are you okay? You know, are you able to? She's like, well, I have to step out. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you're back, you know, because we're here to support each other. And I was able after the event to get numbers so I can keep in touch with them and say, you know, I'm here for you. You know, if you need resources, please reach out. Let me know. I'm always here to listen, or, you know, let's go out to lunch. So I gained new friends at the event. And again, a lot of information was given out. Food banks also was given information for that was given out. Vouchers were given out for beddings, for, you know, if they need beddings or whatever. It just turned out really amazing, and I thank God for that, because that's what I was aiming for, a resourceful event. And that's what they got. They left with resources and pamphlets, and they left with good information that I wish I had when I was going through what I was going through. And that's what I wanted to bring.
That's awesome.
That is so important. That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you. Like, without question, for you to put all of that on by yourself.
Right.
I know that was a daunting task in and of itself. And then you had to get up there, and then you still had to pour even more of yourself in, you know, into others who, you know, hopefully they walked away with some, you know, powerful message, and, you know, they're working towards either getting out of their situation or even more energized to help someone else in their situation.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, thinking back, Charles, when we had the sexual assault forum, that was meant to be super informative, and it was meant to really shed light on what exactly is sexual assault. Because, you know, people think that it's just black and white when there are so many other layers to it. And I remember in planning for it, you know, going to meet with the people at Turnaround, and just setting up the date, then having to postpone the date, and just in my mind being like, oh my gosh, I hope people come. And, you know, just a lot of buzz around it. And then, Maritza, we have the event, and it's just me and Charles and Darian.
Right.
And it's like, what was so frustrating to me is that when it comes to informing people about things that matter, things that are so prevalent to our society, and it was right around the time of like the Bill Cosby incident, like just it was fresh, and just talking about what is consent, and just, you know, delving into things that I think people really needed to hear, and not having the response that we wanted was very disheartening, because I'm thinking, do people not care? Do people not want to know? Do people
don't care? It's like for my event, that was my concern. I was like, oh God, like everybody was texting me, well, this is going to be so depressing. This is going to be so, you know, and I'm like, it's a resource event.
Exactly.
And I don't, you know, one text was like, I don't hit women. Okay. But you don't know if your sister is being hit. You don't know if your auntie's being hit. You don't know the emotional abuse of it. You can be living with a family member that may be going through it and you're not aware, but at least you'll have the information out. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get. To have the information is knowledge, because you never know who may be going through something, and you have that knowledge.
Yeah. And domestic violence is so layered. Like your friend that sent you a text, I don't hit women. It's more than just physical.
Right.
You could be emotionally abusing somebody and you don't even know it. You could be the source of terror for someone and you don't even know it. So,
even another layer to that, it's more of, I don't want to say it's a denial on his part, but it's definitely a deaf ear to, you know, anybody else who may be hitting women. It could be a couple of his friends who may hit women and he doesn't even know.
And this is the amazing part, Charles, not to interrupt you, but he has a daughter. He attended my event. Why the next day he texted me and he was like, I got to commend you for an amazing event. I had to come home and apologize to my daughter because at times I tell her, don't be like your mother. So he said, I realized that is an emotional abuse. I said, you're right. He said, I was tearing my own daughter down. She's 10 years old. And every time she did a mistake, don't be like your mother. Don't act like your mother. So he said, I had to actually apologize when I got home the next day because the event, it finished a little late. But she's like, when I got home, I had to realize like, oh my God, I'm actually emotionally abusing my daughter without even realizing it. So he said I had to sit down with her and apologize. And I was like,
real quick. Sorry, real quick. I just gotta say, one thing about abuse that I realized that a lot of people don't even realize that they're being abusive. You know, they could grow up in a situation where, you know, the parents are resentful against each other, and then you're realizing that your mom is turned against your dad, or your dad's turned against your mom, as a, like you said, the guy you was talking to. And you know, abuse is definitely different layers, you know, spiritual, emotional, financial. It's not just physical, you know. And until we open our eyes and realize what is abuse, and then apply to our own life, abuse will keep going. It'll be a generational thing, and you could be raised in an abusive situation and don't even realize it until you open your eyes, or at least hear about it like your friend did. So again, you see the miracles that you bring to other people.
Right. Like that was powerful. That's a powerful testimony. You know, for that person to, you know, be in denial of his own, you know, like, you know, in just thinking two-dimensional with his thought process, and then you open his mind up to a third and fourth dimension. And not only that, like his restitution and his restoration of his relationship with his daughter, because she was on a path to kind of take that onto her adulthood. And like Darius was just saying, perpetuating generational curses over and over and over again. And he would have just been still stuck in the mindset, well, I don't hit women, so I'm not abusive. Like that's a powerful testimony.
I'm glad he attended. Like, part of me sees it as a happy ending, because you know, he almost missed out by being defensive and saying I don't hit women. But you know, his willingness to push through and to attend this event, I commend him.
Right.
There are so many people that automatically assume this doesn't apply to me, so I'm not going to go, as opposed to supporting. If anything, people could have just gone because you invited them out of support. And then even being present in the moment, they can learn something.
Right.
You know, just being present in the moment for anything, putting this out there, PSA. Outside of parties, outside of any fun social gatherings, learn something. It may not be super fun to you, but if somebody is inviting you out to learn, it's for your betterment. Attend, support. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. So just support, please.
I get it because I feel like the event that we tried to put on, Brittany, it's still a bit of a sore spot. You know what I'm saying? For me,
very sore spot.
You know, because you know, we had quite a few people who were interested in it, but like none of them showed, which was like.
And we rescheduled for a group of people. And to bring in outside resources, and the information was so valuable. I learned something. About consent, and I'm like, oh wow.
Wow.
So it just goes to show kind of like where our mindset is. It's like we have this fake outrage about situations. We're quick to post something or, you know, chime in via social media, you know what I'm saying? And you'd be like, you know, they're quick to say, I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? But that here for you is empty and soulless. You know what I'm saying? So you never know what blessings or what information or what wisdom that you're going to get from certain situations, like your event, Maritza. Like, I think that was just, I am just in awe. Like, I'm sad that I couldn't go.
I know.
Hey, we have next year.
Yeah, I'm there.
We would love to partner with you.
Yes, we are there.
We would love to partner with you.
Definitely. But I'm here because I want to hear somebody's story.
Yes.
And you guys, before we even get into the story, this is my own husband.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
I don't even know this story in full detail, which shows when it comes to domestic violence, there's a face to it. It's assumed that it is a man physically hitting a woman. That's the stigma. That's the stereotype of that's all that domestic violence is. Yeah. And then stereotype, yes. But guess what? There comes a time when you can have domestic violence with a woman against a man. Men can be victims of domestic violence as well. And so this evening, we're going to hear a story from my husband. This is my first time hearing it as well. And before we get into it, being transparent, my husband had to come into the room this morning, and he said, because he watched the show that we did earlier this month, last night. He just wanted to watch it again just to hear Maritza, hear her story. He wanted to look up some stats, and he said, babe, I'm triggered. I just need to lay down. And I had to hold my husband for a little bit because it was triggering to him. So, honey, thank you for sharing your story. It's very brave of you. And I am all ears. We are all ears.
I wanted to ask one question. Will you like a solo layout, or would you still like us to be here?
Oh no! I need y'all. I want y'all. I want to see some faces.
We got you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
I'm walking sick.
You guys can interject and whatnot. It's not just me talking for 45 minutes, nothing like that. But yeah. So, I watched our show because I wanted to build off of what Maritza was saying. And Maritza, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling your story, because a lot of people don't do that, and like I was telling Charles, you don't really see too many men coming out saying that, and with us it is, you don't want to look like a punk, you don't want to look like you're weak, nothing like that. And when I did my research this morning, a lot of what I saw for men says that, a lot of men get abused. There's men that get raped, and I'm blown away by that. But, abuse is abuse. Okay. That's just flat out that, And first off, I would just say for all men, do not ignore the red flags. Okay. When you see some things with somebody, whether you date a woman or you date a man, look at it for what it is. Don't try to make it something small or sweep it under the rug, because those are signs. Okay. So with me, before I met my beautiful wife that's above me, I was in a 2.5-year relationship that was verbally abusive, and then it ended physically abusive. And it was tough. So when I had met this particular woman, I mean, on paper, she looked great. Okay. I thought that I was going to have the life I have with Brittany, with this person. All right. College graduate. She seemed like she had drive in life and everything. And she's a makeup artist, but she was extremely pretty. Like, oh my gosh, like, how did I pull this one right here? So it's and she met me at a time when I was going through some stuff. So she was kind of inspiration to get through what I need to get through, and have this life with this woman. The first red flag was she had gotten to an argument with, I think she had gotten to an argument with a relative. And then she just kind of moved into a room, and then she had given up her kids to their father. Now, that's not necessarily a red flag, I would say. But to me, it was kind of interesting because I've never seen a woman just kind of give up for kids like that. I mean, I have a family member that went through that, and even then, like their relationship was strained, but thankfully now their relationship is building. It's going in the right direction. So, uh, but it get worse because she had to move into my house. She had to move in because she couldn't afford the room because she had to get a lawyer because she was getting taken down for child abuse. Okay. Now I don't know this woman. I'm still getting to know her and everything, but I'm looking at the situation like that's not a normal thing, Like, but let me give her the benefit of the doubt because I've never seen her with her kids. So we went, she went to court and all that other stuff, and when we got her kids, I'm not gonna say abusive, but I was like, whoa, like calm down, like why are you so mad at this boy? She has boys. So that was like the red flag there. And then as the relationship progressed, I saw how she was with her ex-husband on the phone. Like they would call about the kids' schedules and stuff like that. And she was super antagonizing to this man. I mean, talking about his wife and, calling her a fat whore and all this other stuff. And I mean, it was just for the sake of pissing him off. And I remember being in the car with her, looking at her like, I'm looking at her like, why are you even talking to this man like this? And he's responding calmly, like, stop talking about my wife like this. He's not cussing her out. He's not cussing at her at all. And she's going back saying, oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, she don't think she's going to talk to me like that. Like, no. So, that was the other red flag. And then we argued a lot. Like, we argued a lot, and this is when I started really seeing the relationship where we had an argument about chicken skin. Okay. I was, y'all know I like to cook. So I'm trying to cook some jerk chicken. And the arguments was always start off out of like just a disagreement, like I can't even explain why we would argue so much. But I had wanted to cook some chicken. I wanted to cook some jerk chicken, and I wanted to try it without the skin one day. So, she was like, no, you got to put the skin on. So I was like, all right, well, look, let me do half without the skin, the other half with the skin on it. And then next thing I know, she's, accusing me of not listening to her. Oh, if my aunt would have said something, I'll be listening to her. And she has, she has no value in my life and whatnot. And I'm trying to understand where all this mess is coming from when I'm just trying to make a suggestion. I'm even compromising, So that night, that particular argument gets extremely bad. Okay, this was like the worst argument out of all of them. And I remember putting on my jacket and, saying, I gotta go. A lot of times I would leave the house so I can cool off. So I took her to leave the house.
And she was staying with you, right?
Yeah, she was staying with me. She was living in my apartment. So the background of the situation was I was the main one paying the bills, and she had a problem going to work. So she even got fired towards the end of our relationship. But anyway, so this particular night, I put my jacket on, and I'm heading out to leave the apartment. She barricades the door. Like, she stands in front of the door and continues to yell at me. So, a man only has so much he can deal with, all right? And I have to, flat out say, I don't understand why some women who is with the man that they know is not going to hit him try to push his buttons to the point where he wants to hit her, all right? Mm-hmm. So I'm from down south, all right? I'm from a family that don't play that, okay? If I put my hands on Brittany, my family will fuck me up. Like, my family will mess me up, all right? So they don't play that at all. And my family love Brittany. So I don't even want to tell them we have an argument because they'll be on her side. But anyway, I just remember feeling that, you know, she's really trying to push me at this point. So we had birds at the time, and I remember punching a bird cage, and it broke apart. The birds fell out, whatnot. She's ducking and whatnot from the birds, but whatever, she would not leave the door. And I'm trying to get out the house, and she's grabbing on me and everything. So I just went on ahead and went to the balcony. I remember I was on the second floor. So I'm on the balcony. I called a friend of mine. I'm like, "Yo, this chick is literally kidnapping me in my house." And if you're in a house with somebody that's constantly yelling at you, and you're pissed off and you're trying to calm down, but this person is constantly yelling at you, you're going to get to the point where you're going to do some violence. So I remember I locked myself in the room. I locked myself in the guest bedroom, and I called her mother, and she kept saying, please leave the house. I was like, I can't, because your daughter is barricading the front door. All right. So because I had stayed in the bedroom, I was able to cool off, and then she cooled off and everything. And the next morning, I'm getting ready for work, and I just had this feeling. I feel like my grandma talks to me. She talks to me in different ways. I had a feeling that I'm going to end up going to jail. Like, I saw myself literally going to jail staying with this girl. So I told her flat out, I'm going to go to jail if I stay with you. I don't know if I can be with you anymore, because I'm going to lose my career. I don't want to be Ike Turner, and you're pushing me to be something that I'm not. She went off crazy. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I pushed everyone away. Please don't leave me and all this. And I'm like, I don't understand why you can't let me leave if we're having an argument. So, she gives me the whole, I promise I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to let you leave you alone and whatnot. So needless to say, that never happened. Okay. The next argument we had, I would be in the living room, and she'll be in the bedroom. She'll come out. She'll be mumbling shit, talking loud enough for me to hear her talking about me. So at this point, I didn't even want to be home. Okay. At work, we organized, and we had like different projects to do. And I'm not lying when I say I used to be at work for 12 hours. Okay. I already had like use, lose, leave. I'm working all kinds of credit hours and whatnot. And I would get home, I would leave and go to work at 6, and I would come home around 7 o'clock. All right. Because I didn't want to go home. And I didn't realize that home was not home to me. Okay. If a man don't have peace at home, where's he going to have peace at? So another argument we had, she basically called me ugly. Like, my mom thinks you're ugly, whatnot. We're supposed to go visit her mother. She's like, oh, well, my mother said that I'm sure he's nice to you, but he's not very nice looking. So of course that triggers me. Like, okay, well, I'm thinking, fuck your mother. I don't need to go see her. So I had stayed over my cousin's house that night, slept on his couch, pulled my phone up, and canceled my airplane tickets to her house that Christmas. So
did her mother really say that?
I honestly have no idea. Her mother is the sweetest woman I have ever met. Like, one of the sweetest women I've met. Yeah. I don't even understand how somebody so evil came from someone that was that sweet, So I came home, and then I told her, what I did. I said, I canceled my tickets. Like, I'm going to take the money and go to Miami. Treat myself to a trip to Miami. Of course, she's like, no, we need you there. I don't understand why you even did it. I didn't think you was going to actually do it. I told you I was going to do it, So she ended up buying the tickets and, getting me back on the same flight. We went to her mother's house. So, it's so many arguments that we had. I can't even go through them all of them. But
can you speak to the physical abuse, Derry?
So at the end of the relationship, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I had went to church. Okay. Came home. Now, she didn't go to church with me. She never went to church with me, which was another red flag. I came home, and looking at getting a different car. So I was going through a DUI at the time. I had to blow and go in my car. Like I got tired of blow and go. I'm frustrated, okay, because I got to deal with this. And I dealt with it, financially, and doing everything I was supposed to have done. So of course she's like, no, you can't buy another car. You got to use the car that you have to blow and go. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna just go see about it, whatever. And next thing I know, it's a whole nother argument. Like we're arguing. Like I don't understand why we're arguing again. So she starts throwing stuff at me. Okay. Next thing I know, like she's throwing clothes at me and hit me in my face. And next thing I know, pow, my lip is busted. Okay. Like she threw something at my face and busted my lip. All I see, and at this point, I see blood come out my mouth. Right. I go to the bathroom and I'm spitting out blood in the sink. And she's of course, I close the bathroom door. She's on the other side of the bathroom door screaming, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, that's what my grandma told me, leave the house. Just leave the house. All right. So I walked past her, went and threw some clothes on, grabbed my keys and left the house. All right. I took a picture of my face. I still got the picture of my lip and whatnot. I remember calling her mother and telling her mother what she did. And of course, her mom was like, please, Darius, leave the house. So I left the house. As I already left, I was in the car. So I'm going to go see, I went to see my homeboy house, whatever, right? And of course, he's like, what the fuck happened to you? I'm like, this crazy chick just busted my lip. And then I just started bawling, man. Like I could not stop crying, man, because I realized I was in a situation that I don't know how to get out of. This person went from being my world to being my nightmare. Okay. And going back to the show that you guys did 2 weeks ago, when you was talking about women leaving, women can pack their stuff up and leave the house. But what if it's your house? Like I can't leave. Like, oh, this is my place. I have to live here, Right. And I remember telling my brother, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do at this point, And then she had called me and asked me if I called the police on her. And I said no, which I still regret. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was about to ask that. I don't know if I was really about to ask that.
That is the one thing I regret, because people don't learn unless consequences come. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, did you call the police? I said no. She said, are you sure? Because they're outside our window right now. And I remember just saying no and just hanging up. And again,
so she was more concerned about getting police involvement than if you're okay.
Exactly. Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So after about another hour or two, I'm just driving around Baltimore, whatever. I come back to the house and I go in the bedroom. I think she was in the kitchen, whatever. So she comes into the bedroom and just nonchalantly tossed me a rag with some ice in it. Like, oh, this is for your lip. And walks out the damn room. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you don't realize, like, you just physically abused me. So anyway, that night we went to sleep and I woke up at 2 a.m, grabbed my laptop and left. I went to my mother's house in Virginia and I stayed there. This is around 4th of July. So I spent on 4th of July there. I sent her no message. I said nothing to her. I didn't wake her. I literally quietly fucking left. Because I kept saying to her, I said, one day you're going to wake up and I'm not there. So I made sure that I left. So of course, when I get to my mother's house, everyone is like freaking out. Because my mother don't know what I was going through. She don't realize that her son was in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. Okay. So of course,
so
my mom
you never told family, you never told friends while you were going through this 2.5-year relationship? Wow.
I kept it to myself, and she tried to drive wedges through everybody in my life, between my mom and myself, my family, my friends, you know, and again, abuse is abuse. Abusive people want to control you, want to control who you're around, they want to isolate you. And if this is an abusive person that has no friends, she don't want you to have any friends either. Okay. So I'm gonna jump back a little bit. We went to a couples therapist, okay, couples therapy one time. And the therapist that we used literally did not like her. Like, we would bring up situations that we was going through, that she put me through, and she had literally no answer for it. For example, one night, she was tired. I think she was she used to work about a good, I think, hour and a half from here. So she was tired. Of course, I'm like, this is a Friday night. I'm like, go ahead, get some sleep, okay? And I call my boys, and I'm out with my friend. Now, Britt know how I am with my friends. Charles, you know how, I ain't know you at the time, but you know how we get together, all right? We gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna get home to my lady. So I'm getting frantic phone calls after an hour or so me leaving. She's getting mad because I'm out with my friend. Yeah, Now, mind you, she's supposed to be asleep. Like, you're tired, get some sleep. All right. So she's like, "Oh, I couldn't sleep because you wasn't home."
Take your ass to Airbnb and leave me alone.
Right. Like, wait a minute. Like, am I supposed to stay in a house because you don't want to go anywhere?
Hell no.
So anyway, when I brought it to, of course, we bring it to the therapist, she has no answers. So the therapist is like, "Okay, so why did you do that? What was the purpose of you doing it?" And she's like, "Well, I was just scared something's going to happen to him." But I've been living in Baltimore since 94. Oh, sorry, since 92. I can't handle myself. Anyway, Charles, Charles, you know how it feels as a man. You've been working all week. Okay, you come home and they were home. Sometimes you want to break. You want to kick back with your boys, have a cigar, have a beer. Let me be me for a minute. Sorry, you don't have any friends. I can't control that.
It got nothing to do with me, baby.
Right. but before I left, the deal was you get some sleep and relax, and I'm going to come home and we'll spend the rest of the weekend together. So yeah, she tried to put wedges between me and everybody. Like, I did not feel like a free man at all, and when the relationship started deteriorating, it got so bad where I was looking at her like, why am I with you? Like, how did I get with you? Like, all the women in Baltimore, I get with this abusive woman here.
All the physical attractiveness went away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man. Right. I mean, all of that. The attractiveness is completely gone. All right.
Well, we know how the story ends, obviously.
So
you're no longer with the woman. Tell us the final day. Tell us about the breakup and how you got away.
All right. So again, I'm in my aunt's house with my mother, and my mother is like saying stuff to her and whatnot. And I'm like, "Mom, leave her alone. Don't say nothing to her. I have to go back to this house. I don't know what I'm coming back home to." So on my way home, I stopped past the police station. And I said, "I think I need to make a report." I told them the situation. My girlfriend physically abused me. But at the time, it was like 3 days ago. All right. And your lip heals fast. So, of course, he sees like the bruises and whatnot. But I showed him a picture of the picture of the actual incident. And he told me that, you have to make a report on when it happens, basically. But he still took the report down and gave me a report number and everything.
Okay.
And yeah, it was so. But I want to do that just in case I was coming home to more abuse. All right. So I come home, and her bags were already packed up. And she was in the bedroom, and she was like, "I'm so sorry. It really was an accident. I didn't mean to bust your lip." So on Facebook, I had posted what she did. Okay, on a post that she put out, so everybody saw it. So she heard my sister's My sisters posted guns. Both of my sisters are security guards. They posted guns.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Clap,
females
clap.
on my side was like, "Let me see this chick, okay? Like it's over, you know." So, I actually kind of regret doing that because it vilified her, but it showed everyone who she was. Okay, like this is who she was, and this is what she does to people. So, when I get home and she's apologizing and whatnot, she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go." I said, "Okay." So we had a plan to get
The
her
squad is coming.
back to
You
her.
better go.
Take her back to her mama's house in Georgia. All right. So
he took her back to her mother's
Wait, wait, time out.
In
Time
spite
out.
of
Yes.
all that?
You did what?
yes.
And you
So-
drove her to Georgia?
This part I was
Yes.
like,
So I took off
Damn.
work. I took off work and whatnot, and she had rented a U-Haul truck. I remember it was raining that day,
it's like,
and she had called some movers, whatever, to grab her bags, and I helped her took her the bedroom set she had apart, and took my mattress off that bitch. So the U-Haul truck is packed and everything, and she's frantically crying, saying, "Oh my God, it's just freaking me out because when I first came to Maryland, it was raining, and now I'm going back and it's raining. I'm driving by myself and whatnot." And I said, "You know what? I'll ride with you. I'll drive with you." And of course, we take the long drive to Georgia with her in her
10 hours,
U-Haul
bro.
truck.
That's 10 hours, bro, with your abuser. In a
Man.
very
so how did
tight
you get
space.
back?
So her mom bought me tickets to what's that thing? The mega bus. I ended up taking the mega bus back that her mom got tickets for. And
It's
then
like 24 hours to get
yeah.
back.
Yeah, it took a while. I mean,
that's the least the mom could do. But I mean, in Darius' defense, I'm thinking like, how can I'm getting my abuser out of my house.
yes.
Oh, happy day. I will do
Yes.
what is necessary.
I
Because the last thing I need is for her to be frantic, crying, saying, "I can't drive in the rain. I'm going to stay." No, we're getting you out of here. So if you're scared to drive in the rain, guess what? I will help you.
You
I
are going
will
to your
help
mama's house.
So I get it. I get it. In situations,
Mhm.
it wasn't as drastic as yours, but when you want somebody out of your space, you will do whatever it takes.
Right.
Yes, you will.
Oh, okay.
So I remember I came home.
Oh.
Well, for one, we slept in separate beds from that point on. I slept in the guest bedroom. She slept in our bedroom. And I remember just thinking what you said, babe. Like, let me just get her home. Let me not start any more, no arguments. Everything okay? That's what you need. All right, here you go. So,
Mary, were you scared of her?
no, I wasn't scared of her. I was scared of myself around her because she brings the worst out of me.
Mhm.
She brings the worst out of me.
So
She
at
tested.
any
I'm sorry, what?
point, at any point, I think the point when you said she was at the door, she was not allowing you to leave. She was barricading the door. At any point, did you see your life like flash? Like I'm just imagining as you're speaking. I'm imagining the incident. At any point, did you feel like did your life just flash in front of your head? Like I'm gonna knock her out and I'm gonna be in jail. Like did you actually?
That's what happened the very next morning.
Like I'm about to punch her out, get her out the door,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna see yourself.
Oh man!
Oh, no.
Come back! Okay, there you go.
To backtrack a little bit.
So
My God.
Like,
when
did
the
you see
incident
your
was
life
happening,
just flash in front of your face?
I mean,
No,
that
no,
happened to me.
no.
That happened to me,
So-
like specifically that.
Because when you're angry, you know
Mhm.
some people.
Yes.
You know when you're angry,
Yeah.
some people just block, and then when they come to, they're like, "Oh,
oh, she keep going
Oh
on.
my
Yes.
goodness. Oh my God.
No,
Listen,
no, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Marissa. So when it happened, I kept getting angrier and angrier. So every argument we had, it just got worse and worse. And it would never be okay, we're mad, let's stop. It was instantly more antagonizing. Like I said, she was blocking the door and yelling at me instead of saying, can you just stay home, just stay here, whatever. No, she's yelling at me some more. So I
Mm.
didn't go postal. Okay. I was fully conscious the whole way. I was just trying to get out the house, and I was trying to get away from her. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, I had exactly what you said. Like I don't know. I don't know when my grandmother talking to me. It was God talking to me. But I said I'm going to end up going to jail, staying
Right.
with her, because when you continue to argue with somebody and you keep antagonizing a man that does not put his hands on women, he's gonna knock you the fuck out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just flat out, he's gonna knock you out. Now I'm the bad guy. I'm going to jail. I may lose my career. No, I don't want that for myself.
Right.
So, I said to say some people bring the worst out of you, and I feel like that's what she tried to do. She tried to bring the worst out of me, like make me a person I wasn't. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so after, well, getting her home, we had to take her stuff home, and she still had stuff there, and her car was there for us. So she went to an event that was in Atlanta, and then came back, I think 2 days later, and then we packed her car up, and she drove off. So I remember the heartbreak that I had. It was the most, it was the most painful thing I felt at that moment. I remember seeing her drive off and saying to myself, this is my last time ever seeing her. And this is somebody I was with for almost 3 years, or 2.5 years. And I could not stop crying. I came back to the apartment. It was half empty, and I was like, oh my God, like, it's really over, So I still had love for her, and it broke my heart to see her go. But, the first couple of weeks, I was with my friends, went to wine festivals and whatnot, and everybody was like, man, call me if you need me and whatnot. I remember the first week I kind of stay out the apartment as much as I could, because it was just, it was triggering,
Yeah. How long before you met me after this breakup?
So this breakup was July, I want to say July 10th, maybe. And we met in October. So one of the things I did after the breakup was I changed my prayer. I asked God to get me ready for my wife.
Amen.
Stop praying for a wife. I said, God, get me ready for my wife. Because what I went through had to have been a lesson. That had to have been a lesson to get me ready for my wife.
It was a lesson for sure. But Derry, honestly, I don't think you were ready when you met me.
No, I wasn't. Okay. I was still scarred, and bringing baggage. So I'm going to get into the other side, the bridge called Brittany. Okay. So when me and Britt met, I was talking to a mutual friend. I was talking to a friend. So
condense it, bro. We're running short on time, bro. Condense it.
So what now?
Condense it. We're running short on time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to give a friend of mine. Talking to a friend of mine that was friends with my ex at the time, and I remember telling her that I had met Brittany and whatnot, and she's a great girl, but I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship. So she was like, I don't know, maybe take it slow, because I said if I don't pursue her, I may lose her. So me and Britt, we go ahead and get together and everything, and relationship is going, and I realized that I'm very argumentative. Like, Britt came over one day, and I argued with her over something dumb.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to being in that space.
Right. So in the first few months with Derry were very hard. The trauma from his abusive relationship trickled over into our relationship, and things that he should have been saying to her, he ended up saying to me. So like he was saying, arguments over little things
Yes.
Little things.
Hurt
And I
people,
said, Derry,
hurt people.
it was one argument,
Right.
and it was one argument too many. And I remember it was for his birthday, and he was
Yeah.
supposed to make a doctor's appointment, and he's supposed to change that doctor's appointment, and he kept dragging his feet. And I think I may have called him like, "Did you do it yet?" And he exploded. And I remember pulling into a spot in my parking lot at work, and I said, "Let me tell you something, brother. I am not your ex. What you're saying to me and that anger you're giving to me, you should have gave to her. So if you're gonna be about that anger life, you might want to call her back." And it was like night and day. It was like night and day. So I said that he entered into our relationship too soon, but I found that when I finally gave him that oomph, like, look, I'm not her. If you want her back, go. It was like night and day.
Mhm.
So, of course, in months after that, there were still some remnants of anger, but we had to go to therapy.
Mhm.
And then after we went, then he had to go by himself
Mhm.
for anger. And it made the difference, because if we did not have the intervention of therapy, I don't think we would have made it.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm glad
I want to
that
get
he
I want
was
to get your
willing
point,
to-
Maritza. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad he was willing to go to therapy, and he acknowledged the fact, like, that, he did pray for a woman, and he had to make some changes in order to achieve that woman that God was sending him. In couples therapy, I feel like it does help. I mean, I've never done couples therapy, but if God sends me my husband, when no, let me rephrase those words.
Not
I'm gonna
if.
rephrase those words.
When.
Wait. When my husband comes,
Yes.
I send him that if. When my husband
Yes.
comes, I know I probably would need therapy, because I do feel like I'm healed. But when you're in a relationship, you have to compromise,
yes.
and you have to give that independency up
Yes.
a little bit. And when you're alone for so long, you do things your way, how you do it, come and go, when you want to come, when you want to go. So you have to learn something.
Mhm.
So it's for him to be open to therapy. I commend him for that.
Yeah.
I commend him for that. And I commend you for being patient with him and being, what we need, I want you in my life, so we got to go to therapy. This is how it's going to work.
Yeah, Maritza, you want to know my tactic, my strategy? I started off with, let us go. But deep down, I said, he needs it more than I do. But if this is the only way, I really felt like that was the only way I was going to get him to go, if I made it a we statement. But I've already been to therapy with the relationship, kind of like how ours was going.
Right.
He was argumentative. My ex had so many issues from his past relationship, hopping into a new one way too soon. So it was like the same rodeo, same song, same dance. So I had all the tools and the homework that I did with my first therapist, bringing it into my next relationship. So it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing is not wrong. I know. Right. But, I remember the therapist saying, instead of being accusatory and doing a lot of this, make it an inclusive statement, because you're working as a partnership. Exactly. And I found that when I said, I think we need to go to therapy, the blow was softened.
Right.
But then midway through, she was like, I need to see him by himself. And I was like, I know. I know.
So I would say, yes, Brittany, therapy did help a lot. I did need therapy. One of the things that I know I need therapy with is with my father. And the thing that abusive people do is they know your triggers and then they use them to abuse you. So my ex told me that, you should go to therapy about your father. And then when we have an argument, she would talk about my father. So I was just like, I don't understand. Like, you want me to get help for something that you're abusing? But
what were the comments that she said about your father during the argument?
Oh man, so that's why your father's dead. He died of HIV, and just now her father's dead too. But I'm not going to go there. Like,
exactly.
Why would you talk about anyone's father? Again, if I go back about the things that I went through, if I go into full detail, we will be here all night. Okay, and I know Charles, we gotta be respectful of time, so I condense everything.
So can
But
I ask you a question? Because
yes.
I don't personally know Brittany. It's the second time seeing her. She gives out good vibes. I mean,
Yes.
I love her vibe and her energy.
I love yours.
So, in your own words, from your past experience and being in a marriage now, like you're in your second year anniversary, what do you see that you did right in making her your wife? Like, what was the qualities that she had that you knew she's the one?
Brittany is very
to
family.
Your past relationships, because you said you based it on look. You said your ex, she was pretty, she had this, she had that. So Brittany's beautiful.
Yes.
But besides the look, what did she have that was you knew, like, you know, she's the one?
Brittany is genuine. She's family oriented. She loves the people that's around her, and the people that's around her love her. You know, it says a lot when someone has a circle that rocks with them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you know, Brittany, sometimes she thinks I'm the social butterfly, but she's a social butterfly, you know. And when we met, we had lunch together that day. I remember when I first saw her, my eyes, I was like, oh, she's beautiful. And I'm like, oh, she's very short. And we had one of the best conversations, you know. So, you know, at that time I was dating for about 3 months, and I got ghosted by one girl, met one girl that was for pay-for play, and I was like, oh my God, what is that? Pay-for play is pay-for play.
Yeah, we had
y'all need to go back and rewatch that episode.
Yeah.
Last season.
That was a good show too. I mean, woo. But anyway, so I think, you know, and I kept meeting younger girls for some reason. Like I was 39 at the time, and I was meeting girls like 25 and 27 and whatnot. So Brittany was in her 30s, so she was the only one in her 30s I met. But I remember sitting there talking, and she was just a breath of fresh air. I didn't have to force conversation out of her. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm going out to eat with this girl that just want to just get a free meal, nothing like that. And we talked about a lot of intimate things on our first date.
So you knew you wanted to marry me on the first date?
I knew you was quality on the first date.
There you go.
I knew you was serious quality. Okay, so like I said, I had talked to a friend of mine. I said, I met this girl. She's amazing, but I'm not ready for her. But if I don't snatch her up, someone else is going to. So that's why I entered this thing, and you know, I wasn't ready.
You gotta take her off the field, brother.
When
I'm gonna have to learn as I go.
Come on, man.
When did you know you were gonna marry me, though? When did you know? What qualities made you want to marry me, and when did you know?
Quite well, you know, when we went to I ring shopping around December, so of course it was around that time. But I think
what made you want to take me ring shopping though?
Well, I made the decision to take you ring shopping once I met your family. You know, we had a great family. You loved me through a lot, you know, and my life changed. Okay, my life did a 180 when I met Brittany. When we first met, you know, I was dealing with the DUI. I had to blow and go. I had court dates and had to pay for a lawyer, and I was in a spot that I'd never been in. Okay, and then once Brittany entered my life, I mean, when I say my life just skyrocketed. I mean, and not necessarily saying material stuff. It's just the peace that I had, the love that I had, the support that I had in a woman. When I met Brittany, it was like, this is what it's supposed to be, you know? And so that's what made me say, yeah, I'm gonna marry her. It's not one thing, it's a few things that came that came together, and it was real. Like, it wasn't fake. It wasn't just because we just met, you know. She didn't like take off her mask and became somebody else. Like, she's genuine. Who she is how she is.
And when her family, like meeting her family also probably just topped everything off. The fact that she was family oriented, you see how her family is. It's just like, okay, this is somewhere where I want to be.
Yes. And when it comes down to family, like, my family loves her. Like the moment I brought her to my aunt's house, like they just fell in love with her. My mom loves her, and that's that extremely a requirement for me to be with you because I'm close with my mother. Me and her mother, her mom is she has a tough exterior, okay, but when you get to know her and she get to know you, she is the funniest person. I love her.
You know what's funny? So Derry shared a story tonight about how his ex's mom called him ugly, quote unquote, supposedly. So my mom made a joke because we had a portrait blown up, and she's like, "Oh, that's ugly." And so this is, mind you, this is like in the beginning of our relationship, and Derry doesn't know her sense of humor. So while she thinks it's funny, we both don't laugh. And that was a very awkward moment. And so once Derry, went home, I said, "Mother, what was that?" And she was like, "I was just joking." I'm like, "But that really is not a funny joke when you're talking about, somebody being ugly. Like, that's not funny." So, that's my job to intervene and stand up for not only myself, but my boyfriend at the time.
Right.
So I didn't want to start an unhealthy relationship where disrespect is allowed. It's not.
Right.
And the same thing would have happened if Derry made a joke towards my mom that could have been seen as offensive. Like, respect goes both ways. And I'm not good on disrespect. You're not going to disrespect my spouse, and you're not going to disrespect my mother. So that's something that I nipped in the bud. Like, physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, no abuse is tolerated in this house and with who I love. So it's just, interesting that you said that about your ex's mom, and then for my mom to say the same thing, but there's a different outcome.
Yeah.
So, your therapist helps a lot, but what I want to honestly say is most of the therapy I've had is being with Brittany. She's taught me that everything's not a fight. She taught me that you can love somebody and disagree with them. And I realized that I surrounded myself with love in a place that was triggering. I remember I came home with the cats, okay, and my cousin had a litter of cats, and I came home with 2 cats, and I put them in the bathroom, and then I couldn't wait to get Britt. My cousin was like, "You getting these 2 cats because of your girlfriend, huh?" I said, "Yeah, basically." So I went and got Brittany, pulled her to the house, and said, "I got a surprise for you." And I went in the bathroom and grabbed one of the cats. I can't remember which one I grabbed first. I grabbed one of them and brought it to her. She's like, "Oh my God." And they were kittens. They were only a month, and that was only like a month and a few weeks. So they were really, really small. Like, you hold them like this. So she grabs one, she holds it. "Oh my God." And I said, "Hold up. I got one more." So I went, grabbed the other one and whatnot. And then we took a picture with them and everything. And our cats are so loving. Okay, they are just loving. So Britt took a lot of pictures of me with them as kittens, and I have a few pictures of them like laying on me. Both of them are in my arms and stuff. So, I realized that after that years of abuse, I surrounded myself with love. In
that same space.
In the same space.
And I never realized until today. I keep forgetting that she lived there before I got there.
Yes. Yes.
I never felt remnants of her when I would go over there. Because, there are some people that won't live in a house that the spouse moved out. I never felt that way. It was like she never existed. There was no trace of her. I think the only time I may have felt like, oh, someone lived here is when we were moving into the house and we were cleaning out some things from the apartment, and I saw some of her mail, and I'm like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Maritza, with hearing Darius's story, how common is his story? Is it uncommon, or how does that correlate to other men who may have gone through something similar, and what Are there resources out there to help them to get the help that they need? And I know that's a lot of questions, but I'm
so it's not, there is no difference between the information I provided last time and like the 24/7 hotline number to domestic violence. It's the same number. It's just the fact that it's harder for men to come out and speak on it. Like, I commend him for even going to the police station. I'm sure that they're probably looking at him like, okay, we'll do a police report, but like, did you really come in that she, is not taken as serious as if I would have gone in with a busted lip.
Exactly.
Even if it was 3 days later, I'm sure they would have done something more than to just take a police report. It's not common for a man to walk in and say, she busted my lip. And the fact that he had proof, because it did probably heal, in 3 times in a 3-day period. So he had the actual picture, but it's not going to be taken as serious as if I was to go in with a busted lip.
Exactly.
And again, that's a matter of fixing the system, because that's just how the system is, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the same resources that women have, the men have them. It may not be as many locations as the safe havens that I was speaking about last time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as many for men.
But I think that comes because most men don't speak out about it.
Speak about it.
Exactly. We think that it makes us look weak. It makes us look like a punk and whatnot. And when you're in a situation that's in your household that you cannot escape, like, you need help.
Right.
And when I was at my friend's house and I started crying, that's when I realized what I was in. Like, I realized that, oh my God, I'm in a abusive relationship with somebody that lives in my place.
In your place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's heavy. That is heavy.
Yeah, Maritza, were there men at your event besides the one that you heard about? There were.
And I think they all came out with the same message as to the emotional abuse that they put women through. Because again, it's that you say domestic violence, people think physical, but it's not physical. Clearly,
right?
You were in a emotional, mental. So you were, you had the other layers of domestic violence. You were mentally abused. You were emotionally abused. And like you said, you took it to, you knew you wasn't ready for another relationship, but you didn't want to miss out on a good woman. So now she had to deal with the emotional and mental abuse that you was bringing in without realizing that your effect was affecting her. What you've been through, your trauma was affecting her, and it was becoming a trauma for her.
Right.
So pain will continue, but you guys basically stopped it, went for counseling, and individually counseling individually to better yourself, which you broke that cycle. So you have a better understanding. So when you guys, have your family growing, you can honestly step back and be like, handle things differently.
Yeah.
Because you've been in a situation.
And one thing I left out, I meant to say was, one of the things that I used to hear was, why can't you just let me love you? And I realized that abusive people, they try to
manipulate.
They try to
manipulate you.
Manipulate, exactly, manipulate you, where the abuse is love. I don't understand why you just don't let me love you like I should. And again,
I'll put my head down.
Yeah.
Charles, you know what? Do we have time for you to tell your story?
No.
Charles, like he needs his own story.
Next segment.
We may have to extend Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and next week we're going to have our very own co-host on the show.
Charles may need a bed, a couch to lay on, and
I need a couch.
Do you see how much it affects people? Like how domestic violence affects the layers of it? Like, and when you start talking about it, you're like, man, I probably was emotionally abused. I probably was mentally abused.
Yes. Yes. You know, abuse is abuse, but abuse has so many different layers.
Exactly.
And then, you know, it don't matter if it's coming from a man or a woman. The abuse is still the same.
Exactly.
You know? So, you know, I say for men to step up and tell your story. Because me and Britt went to a wine festival, and I know a girl that was in like a group that she was in, and I asked her, I said, hey, you know, do you talk to my ex? She was like, nah, like she fell off the face of the earth. And she said, well, I saw the whole thing with your pictures and whatnot. She's like, I didn't realize she was that abusive.
Oh my God.
But you need to tell everyone, because, you know, people don't know what other people go through and whatnot. So, you know, I say that again for men to start stepping up, because domestic violence abuse month is focused towards the women, because men don't tell their story.
Oh yeah.
You have Lifetime movie channel that have movies like The Burning Bed and like Enough, we all talked about last week, you know, where you have all these movies and all these characters where the men is the abuser, you know, and I mean, it may sell some tickets, may be profitable and whatnot, and no man want to look weak, but it takes strength for you to sit here and tell your story. It takes strength to sit here and be vulnerable and being truthful about the situation you're in. I regret not calling the police on her, because she could turn around and do the same thing to another man, and the abuse is real.
The outcome will be way different.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and
now he's going to jail for doing something to her, and she was the antagonist.
Exactly. Right. You know, where it
needs Courtney Taylor.
It needs to
ass need to stay in jail. I'm sorry. I feel away.
It needs to be corrected, you know. Like the same thing we say about mental health. All right, you know, since COVID, everyone's been talking about mental health and how important it is. You know, it's important for everyone to get everything off their mind. You know, if you go through an abusive situation, such as like I did, and then you meet a young woman like Brittany, and then you're bringing in this abuse, you're not mentally healthy.
Oh yeah, it's hard. Okay? It's hard to stop. It's hard to kind of get out of it, because you're looking. Wow. You have been so used to having this trauma, and then getting love bombed, and then you get trauma, and then you get love bombed, and it's like you don't know
that becomes your life
going. So it's like when someone brings you genuine love, you looking like the fuck. So
you wait for the argument.
You wait for the argument to come.
Wait for it, exactly.
And that's kind of where we get into the self-sabotage mode, because you already have this feeling like the shoes get ready to drop. So let me go ahead and start it.
And that's exactly how. Yes, Charles. Yes, that's how Derry was at times. I can count on, probably in our 5 years together, I can probably count on one hand the number of like true arguments that we had. And I think what made him so upset in those arguments is that he was used to the argument being up here at a 10 in terms of, you know, toxicity, the volume, the tone, the content, just being just super abusive. But for me, how I'm talking to you all right now is the tone that I had in the argument, and it got on his nerves badly. He thought I was being antagonistic, and I'm like, no.
Like, why are you not angry? Why
are you not yelling? Why are you not angry? Like, do you not care?
What you mean? Because I mean, you be hold up. I'm producer over here mad at me because I be chill.
Are you being smart? And I'm like, no.
Like, no,
I'm just not the type to. I don't need to raise my voice, because the content of what I'm saying to you is going to be lost in my tone. So I really want you to concentrate on my words. And I find that if I approach you in this calm manner, then you'll get it.
Brittany, I just learned something from you, because I ain't that calm.
That's that.
Well, you know, I'm about to be like, I'm gonna be talking to people. So what I'm gonna say to you right now is to
yes, you can say that. Just say it in a calm manner. It's so effective that way, because I think, you know, with passion, when you feel a certain way about something, your tone changes. And if you're anger, then your tone's going to reflect anger.
Well, that's
And
like they say, like you can, it's the delivery.
Yeah,
but
not
you
necessarily
keep the
message.
same wording, but the delivery is more of a calm delivery.
Yes. You'd be surprised how the delivery will make a difference and how receptive people are to what you have to say.
100%.
Like even a couple weeks ago, Derry said something and his tone was terrible. And I'm like, nope. Now, was I in the wrong? Yes. But it was the tone of what he said. So maybe like an hour or two later, he's like, babe, can I ask you something? Sure. Was it my tone or was it what I said? I said, Derry, it was your tone. Like if you could have heard how you said it, even you would have been offended at how you said it.
Right. So it's the delivery. It's the tone.
It's the delivery. Yeah, for sure.
So I always take the time to think what come out to me and Brittany, because I may be doing something that I don't realize I'm doing. I may have remnants of past relationships, whatever that I might be they may try to sneak up on me, whatever. And I learned that it's good to check in on your partner. So I definitely would just check in, just hey, are you happy? Am I doing things right? Is there anything I need to improve and whatnot? Because you can't be one-sided in a relationship. It can't just be about you. And well, I was right in this situation. No. Like what I need to improve on and what you need to improve on that, and let's just meet in the middle, because it's not about you. A relationship is two. When we get married, they said you are now one. So my heart has to be clear and Brittany's heart has to be clear. If my wife is not, if she's losing sleep over something, then I need to lose sleep over the same damn thing. So that's how I look at, with our marriage. And, you gotta nurture it. You gotta really
be equally yoked.
Yes, equally yoked. So, I try to make sure that I do that, because I don't want to, I don't want to slip back into remnants of past and things like that.
Lord,
I honestly gotta say, like,
you go backwards. I'm still
Jesus. If I had to be the same way that I was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Lord.
No, seriously.
No, like seriously, like
go back and
think about this.
Go back and look at our old episodes and see how.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
I think a lot of people go through.
I was fuckboy adjacent. I was fuckboy adjacent.
I think a lot of people kind of go through abuse that might not be as bad. You might not think it's affecting you, but you go through something abusive, not abusive, but abusive, and then you go into another relationship with that same baggage. I feel like baggage comes from some type of form of abuse. Whether it's all of a sudden you're argumentative now, okay, because of this baggage,
that's good.
You don't trust no one. You don't trust a woman because she cheated on you. So I think in ways a lot of us deal with some type of abuse. Like heartbreak is abuse. Like you get traumatized. And then all of a sudden you're not right in the mind, and you can't function because now your world is upside down. So I really believe that we have to check in. We have to be honest about where we are. Some people are in denial, like you said. Right. And even last week on the show, when y'all had was on the topic of why are you staying, people are in denial. They don't realize the type of abuse they're dealing with, and they don't realize how bad it is. It took me seeing my own blood to say, "Oh, this gotta end." Right. Even though we argue maybe a million times, we argue so much. I honestly said, if we don't argue for 2 months, then maybe I'll go ring shopping. You know how pathetic that is? That is terrible for someone to think like that. And of course it never happened. Can we argue anymore? So, anyway, kind of jumping,
but I commend
going left.
Her, I'm not gonna say this in a good way. I commend you. That busted lip got you, Brittany.
Yeah, it did. It did. It really
Busted
did.
lip got you, Brittany. I like that. I may put that on a shirt. So
Please don't
every
do that.
domestic violence awareness
Please
month, you
don't.
can wear that shirt. That busted lip got him the beautiful Brit.
Yeah, if you
I'll
don't
make
know-
it for you, Brittany. Don't
No.
worry about it.
Oh,
You know it's coming. You know it's coming. My God.
Busted lip. I like that. I like that.
Oh,
That was the first
boy.
thing that popped in my head. I was like, that's
I'm
about to
just
be
adding
a
humor
t-shirt
to the situation.
Oh,
But I commend you for going
Yes,
for counseling.
yes.
I commend you guys for going counseling, and I commend you, Brittany, for actually realizing that there was a problem, and you pushed yourself aside to do a we thing.
yeah.
Like this, we have to go to counseling. Not you got the problem. You got
Yeah.
it.
And that
So
was
I
because
commend you for that.
Yeah, and that was going to therapy prior to him in a
Right.
different relationship. Had I not gone to therapy the first go around with that toxic relationship, I would have jumped ship. Derry had one time with me. For me, I'm very one and done. I don't believe in 3 strikes. I just believe in one. It's like toodaloo. And after that first argument, I probably would have been gone had I not gone to therapy to get the tools to be patient and to work through things. So, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Darius, so much for telling your story. We really
Yes.
appreciate you so
Oh,
much.
no problem.
Being
Thanks for
vulnerable,
having me.
being honest, and coming on, and like just like I said, sharing your experience, and hopefully someone will hear this and either get the help like we always talk about, or help someone else out of the situation. Maritza, I would love to get some the information out to the people.
Yes.
If you have any resource numbers, websites, what have you, now's the time. Please get that out to the people.
So there is a 24/7. I think I gave it last time. It's 1-800-799-7233. English and Spanish speaking. You can also text at 88788 and text START, and that will link you up to a 24/7 text hotline as well, and they're bilingual.
Perfect. Maritza, you have to come back on the show outside of this month because I just love your talking voice. It's very soothing and I really like it.
Well,
And
you'll be able to catch her on her brand new podcast.
I know.
I have
And her
you guys
face, you guys-
invited to my podcast.
Yes. And guys,
All
if
right.
you're listening, her face is just as pretty as her voice. So I feel like our watchers, our viewers get double the treat. So watch the show. Watch the playback.
Thank you.
Yes.
And are you single?
Very single.
Fellas.
Ready to mingle. No, I'm not ready to mingle. Let me.
Never mind. So I'm gonna
I'm
take
waiting
that
for
back.
God to send my, my partner.
She's single. And that's
Because
it.
Britt was getting ready to put
No,
you
we're
on
not
your
I know.
gonna say single. We're waiting for God.
Okay.
I'm praying.
So-
I changed my prayer. I'm listening to your husband.
Wow.
I'm listening to your husband.
Yeah.
He changed his prayer.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Y'all
I'm
be
gonna
single?
change my prayer tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it. She's just single and that's it. Don't
That's it.
try to get in her DMs. That's it.
No.
Unless you are really, really, really.
Unless you're serious.
Unless
If
you're
you're not
serious.
with it, then you need to quit.
Because
No,
what you're
I'll
not
be
gonna
like,
do is you're not gonna mess with my friend. I mean, I ain't
Yeah.
gonna let you.
dang on.
Charles, put some bass in your voice so they know it's real.
Go
Say it
ahead,
again.
Charles.
Because I'm gonna pull up on your ass. Huh?
Don't worry. I got a 9-2.
Y'all heard that?
Oh, wow.
Wow,
My
wow.
wife is the
Okay.
biggest matchmaker. I will guarantee. I mean, she almost every show, she's trying to hook somebody up. I love that about
I
her, though.
can't took up Charles
mean, it's-
anymore because he's taken. So
Right,
I gotta
yeah.
bring
Yeah.
it.
It was an every week thing with me,
Yep.
man.
If
Yeah,
you
it
want
was
a man
getting to the
with
point I was
good
like
and
throwing
deep
you out
voice,
there. I'm like,
if
yo,
you want a
Charles.
man that opens doors for you, if you want a man that's genuine,
I did
Important.
find creative
Important.
ways to put him out there. I'm really creative. I'm really a lyrical genius. Thanks for putting that out, Derry. Wow.
hey, but it worked. It worked.
Thanks,
Somebody
Dad.
said, I'm snatching that brother up. Here comes
Right.
Deep.
I know
All
that.
right, boy.
Well, thank y'all one and all.
I know.
Thank you
Y'all
for
are probably
rocking
my
with us.
two favorite co-hosts. I must put that out there. Anthony, your job is over. Thanks.
Oh, real
Oh,
fast, y'all, real fast. So I didn't do a whole lot of research, but the research I found this morning, some websites for men to go to that's been abused is one called Mankind Interactive, and it give you domestic abuse information for both, but it's geared towards men. And the second one is a website called Help Guide, and it's basically it's basically geared towards men. So it starts off with help for men who are being abused. So there are different websites for men, all right, that gives you information, phone numbers to call, and one of them was actually sharing stories that men had posted about their relationship, and I read one of them, and oh my god, it was oh my god. So they're out there. Don't be scared to reach out. Look for them, search for them. I mean, I feel like men feel like they need to be anonymous, but I mean, whatever gets you out there, do it.
okay. So what I'm gonna need my two visiting professors to do is send all of those links and phone numbers to our DMs. We're gonna create a post and we're gonna put that on our pages, all of our pages actually. And we're gonna get somebody the help that they need. So we appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have been listening and watching Dating University here on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, everywhere. We love y'all so much. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We'll be back next week with a bomb ass topic, and that's it. Love y'all.
Good night.
Love you guys.
Love you both. Thank you so